Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be doing something cooler than we've done so far. So, you know my content for the math videos like this, like, you know, it's like normal stuff, not really anything that interesting. Oh, I'm not supposed to reveal that. Not anything that interesting, but like whenever I do try to make something interesting, it does kind of fail. For example, raccoon math. I mean, you should know what's going on there. I didn't notice that the raccoon noises were going on because, like, my volume was all the way down for Minecraft, my normal audio. Every audio that I had, the volume was 0%. So I don't know what happened there. It should have made no noise, but it still made those raccoon noises. And sorry if my S's are making those very high-pitched noises. Maybe sometimes they do that by accident. Okay, I'm excited for today's concept because we are going to be recreating. We're going to be finding the value of I. Nobody has ever, or maybe some people have tried it before. I is the square root of 1. Or sorry, -1. So technically, some people might have tried this, but I know nobody thought like me. Because I have some pretty unique ways of trying to find this. So let's start with the first way. With values that are known. So we know that I squared. Here, actually, let me make that an equation. So if we go to insert, then we go to symbols at an equation. You can make a new equation. That's where we type I, and we click this over here, this, and then you put 2. So that's I squared. So I squared is equal to -1. So that should be obvious. Okay, another known value that we have. Well, another known value that we have is that I to the power of I. Here, let me separate this by a long space. I to the power of I is approximately equal to 0.28. To be even more approximate, 7, 9, 8. I don't know. I'm just rounding it to the nearest thousandth. So basically, the point that I'm getting to here is that there's known values for I. And maybe we could try to evaluate those expressions like this to find out if there is a possible value for I. So some people think I is equal to 90 degrees because I times I would basically be, well, it's hard for me to represent it with just like a Google Doc. You could actually search that up. Like on YouTube, you could search up I equals 90 degrees or something like that, and then it will explain. So, it just makes sense. Okay. I'm not going to put the degrees symbol. I'm just going to, because I don't know. Well, maybe, hold on. Nope. It's the same exact symbol. Wait, hold on. That's Greek. What? gotta use this for now. Unless if... No. We're gonna use 90 degrees like this. Okay? That's how we're gonna live our lives. Okay, another thing we have here is I matrices. I kind of forgot the matrix. No. What is I as a matrix? Hold on. I saw it earlier. That was the first time I saw it. What is square root -1 as matrix? Perfect, but, huh? Okay. Oh, right here. Okay, sorry. So right here, you could easily see, I don't know if it will let me copy and paste. Yeah, that just did nothing. But you could easily see here that that's I, so I guess you could keep that in mind. Okay, so let's try with this first. I squared equals -1. So obviously to evaluate this, you have to square root that, but that doesn't end out working. Now how about we try this? Oh no, that's not gonna work. Okay, how about we do the opposite actually? How about we did this? So that's an approximation. So this copy via. Okay, so let me see. 0.208. There's something called a super root. I'm not gonna explain it in this video, but yeah. Just square super root. Oh my gosh, no. I mean like square super root, not whatever it's talking there. Super square root. I said it backwards. Okay, no, that includes I. But what if we subtract 0. Hold on. I might be onto something. So this is equal to this I. So let's keep that in mind. How about we try to subtract that? So I can't really copy that. But 0.208 is approximately. Let me get out my calculator. Okay, so I could type 0.208 minus. Okay, so 0.208. Did I get that correct? Minus 0.0001. I'm not going to say that number. Okay, so we get 0.207833. So that's equal to this part right here, this section. 0.999738I is equivalent to that. Okay, now let's divide that by 0.999738. Yeah, okay. The value I get is 0.20788. So I is equal, But that also doesn't really make sense. Because positive times a positive is a positive. Negative times a negative is a positive. So nothing can be a positive. But I'm still trying to find this out. Okay, so you're saying that if I literally multiply this number right here, I might just show it on the screen right now. I don't know if I will. Okay. I don't know if I've shown it to you yet, but the number that I got on my calculator is strange because if I multiply it by 0.999738, I get that same number that I got earlier when I did, like, whenever I subtracted 0.000167, 0.207833, and then we add 0.000167. So the only value I guess we could get for I doesn't make sense. But I guess we did find a value that matches this. It's just not really that correct. So I don't know. Wait, hold on, let me redo this. 999738. So this is I already showed it on the screen earlier. You could rewind. I'm not gonna show it again. Or I could just tell it to you. 0.20788746665. So, with that being, that's the only thing we could get for I, with known values. Okay, that's with known values. Okay, how about with unknown values? Yeah, you got the point now. You need to understand the fact that why would they add negative and positive? Makes sense, right? Okay. Negative doesn't even exist. Negative means like you owe something or you spent something. It's basically like positive, but removing. You cannot take something away from zero. So it's technically impossible. So I don't know. So if we could add negative numbers at our will, then why can't we add any other number? Which is why I'm going to introduce the new idea. I don't know if I need to zoom in for you or not. Maybe I could just make this writing bigger. I'm going to introduce this new interpretation for you. I'm going to have the equation. How about... Okay, so I actually thought of this. Yes, that's right, we're making our own numbers now. Because this is how life is going to be if we can't get like a perfect value. Which I wanted to explain, this is stage 2. So stage 1 was with known values. Stage 2 is without known values, like creating values for it. So -1 plus, so that's not an equation, it's just different numbers. So there's -1, +1. I guess I would call this multiplicate 1, and dividend. I don't really have a name for that. I'm going to call that 1i. Okay, yeah, we're going to call that 1i. Because I suggest this will be I. This will be I. I suggest that whatever we're going to call this symbol, this division symbol, for the numbers, I suggest if you, I don't know what I did there. I suggest if you multiply this by itself you get -1. So dividend, or yeah, I could call it dividend 1. Dividend. Here, I'm going to spell it. So multiplicand, and you have dividend. That already sounds like a real word, but it's not, trust me. This is a real word. It's like something with division, like a factor of division. This is dividend. Or actually, let's spell that even more. There, dividend. So if you multiply dividend by dividend, you get negative. If you multiply multiplicand by multiplicand, honestly, hold on. Okay, so my main topic this whole video was about like I, all that. I actually haven't thought about multiplicand because it's not really the main subject. But multiplicand, I would suggest if you multiply by each other, it equals positive, which is where J comes in. If you don't know what J is, it's another imaginary number that is equal to 1, not -1. J squared is equal to 1. Here, let me. So if you square this, so you see this? So J squared is equal to 1. But it's an imaginary number because J is not equal to 1. I don't know how to type that out, but from my keyboard. But J squared is not equal to 1 because -1. J is not equal to 1 or -1, which makes it basically imaginary. So I guess we could call that multiplicand 1 if multiplicand times multiplicand equals positive. If that makes sense to you. I don't know. Now, one thing I want to suggest is, or never mind, that's not in my topic for this video. But, okay, so we found technically a value for I in numbers I created. A value for I that doesn't make sense, but it's at least a real number. Should be over here or something. I showed it to you earlier. We even found a value for J, multiplicand 1. So you see, like the real numbers, the equations that it gives us, even though there's like a couple of them, we couldn't use them. Like they were technically useless. We had to add our own numbers into this, our own stuff into this to actually make this make sense. Without any of this stuff, the universe will be corrupt because now the square of -1 is I, an imaginary number, and not dividend 1. So I guess I hope this video gets at least. Okay, so positive times positive is positive. Multiplicand times multiplicand is positive. Negative times negative is positive for some sad reason. Dividend times dividend is negative. Okay. That's all I'm going to announce for now. Okay. One tricky thing I want you to find. I want you to find, or you could even make your own stuff up like I did. Kind of like, you could make like square rooted 1, as square rooted as like type of number, positive, multiplicand, square, exponented, something like that if you want. I do allow you to use that if you want and make that choice. That is your choice. So just anything. Make up your own way. Find the square root of dividend 1. That's for today. That's all you're getting for today. So the square root. So if here, I'm pretty sure I have it copied. Here, right here, you're gonna find the square root of this. Hold on, I'm gonna fix this. You're gonna find the square root of this. So dividend 1. So this is what I want you to find right here. I want you to find the answer to this. Any choice that you want. I guess leave your answer down in the comments below. Or you can make your own video and I'll probably never come across it. But if I do, I will see it and I'll like your video. Anyways, thanks for watching. I know this is like a long video. It's like 21 minutes already. It's probably going to take up my phone storage. But one final thing. Peace.